I have one word to describe this episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Boring. It was so dry. When I say that it was like watching paint dry, you know when like they paint your house and you're like literally staring at the paint and watching it dry. I want you to picture that. It was that bad. And I was just like, yes, this is not going to last very long if it continues to be that way. Like, I don't even have much to talk to you guys about, but I want to focus on a few things. So I want to talk about the whole Ken and Trish and Marquez situation. And I want to talk about Destiny and Martell and a little bit of Arionne, right? Now, let's start with Trish, Ken, and Marquez. So Kimmy and Maurice had a double date with Ken and Trish. And it was interesting listening to how Trish decided to bring the bones over to Kimmy and Maurice. She literally said that Marquez came over there and he came over upset. I'm like, girl, are you okay? The way she ran it back about Marquez was so wild and so far from what happened. Marquez popped in. You and your friend had an attitude with Marquez. And Marquez was clearly immature and emotional and engaged in it. And it's interesting because then Ken said he feels like he's getting frustrated with Marquez because like they would have a conversation and then Marquez will pull a stunt the next day. But I think what I really am starting to understand is that Trish is a big problem. Trish is actually the biggest reason why they can't move forward. Now, that is not to say that Marquez does not have his shortcomings. I've talked about Marquez's shortcomings a lot. But the reason I really want to focus on Trish's shortcomings in this one is because, think about it, Ken and Marquez were already on a good note. They were getting along well. Everyone is co-parenting okay. But Trish hated it. Trish wants the dysfunction of Marquez and Ken going at it. She loves it. She relishes it. She enjoys it. I feel like it boosts her ego. Let me remind you, when she had a conversation with her friend Sharon in the previous episode, she even said like, oh, the way Ken and Marquez are getting along like friends is starting to piss her off. And I'm like, that is somebody who doesn't want progress. That is someone who does not want peace. She wants the drama. I don't know if it's because of the show. I genuinely think that's just how toxic she is. I think that she wants that whatever it is about two men fighting for her or fighting about her makes her feel important. I feel like that's what she wants. And so the way she ran it back was so wild to me. It was like she was egging Ken on. She knows, I personally think this in my perspective, I feel like she knows that Ken has a bad temper. And she knows that all she needs to do is push certain buttons and Ken will be out here trying to fight for her. And that is exactly what she did. The way Trish made it seem, Trish was like, yeah, Marquez just came bursting into the house and her and her friend were talking and he was immediately like irritated or hostile with her. And I'm like, okay. So Kimmy was trying to understand like what caused him to be angry. And Trish was giving the impression that he was just angry for no reason. So then Ken talks about how he had a conversation with Marquez and that he's asked him to tone it down when he is speaking to Trish and stop being so aggressive. And I agree with that. I do think that Marquez gets too emotional. I feel like Marquez's problem is he is overly ruled by his emotions. So it's very easy to light a match. It's very easy to light a match. It's very easy to say something that triggers him and then he starts getting very spirited and passionate and low-key aggressive, right? And it's like, bro, you need to tone it down, especially when you're talking to a woman. There's no need for all that energy especially when you're talking to a woman. And so I agree with Ken on that, but I think Trish was trying to stir the pot. Trish does not want Ken and Marquez to be cool. Trish wants the dysfunction. And so it's not part of her plan for Ken and Marquez to be cool. So she's like, I'm going to get in there and disrupt it and do whatever it is I need to do to make sure that things don't work out between them and them being cool. But the saddest part is there are children involved. You should want to be on a good, like, have a decent enough relationship. Nobody's asking you to be best friends. Nobody's asking you to be friends at all, right? But that mutual respect, that ability to just, okay, drop off the kids with no drama, be in the presence of the kids with no drama. There was no reason for the son to be seeing what he saw last week and be having to tell his dad to step out. There's no need for that. That is just too toxic. And I also feel like Ken is very invested. He's way too invested. These are your bonus children, and you're not going to erase the presence of, you're not going to erase Marquez out of their lives. He kept saying, oh, this is my family. And here's the thing. Yes, they may be your family, but they are also Marquez's family. So saying that to him is not constructive. There is no reason for that to be what he kept saying. And he's like, oh yeah, I went from here to do this with this kid. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the thing. If you choose to date and marry or choose to be engaged to a woman who has children and you want to be present in their lives, that is what you should be doing as a bonus parent. Like, you're not going to get props for being a good bonus parent. That is the job you took on. That's the role you took on, right? And so it kind of felt like he was expecting like some kudos for doing that. And Marquez is like, well, I sent you money too. Like, it's not like I'm not doing anything. I'm also doing my bit and you're doing your bit. I definitely think Ken needs to pipe down. These are not your children, your bio children. You need to pipe down. I understand the only thing you should be doing is facilitating the relationship between Ken and Trish, and like co-parenting, not you playing into what Trish wants and then turning it into a problem. Trish is a problem. She has unresolved issues. I think she really needs to get deep into the issue she has with Marquez. She's clearly still very angry. She has some deep-rooted resentment and hurt when it comes to Marquez. And I can appreciate it, right? They started dating and got married when they were very young. So many things could have happened. But at the same time, get some help. Get some counseling. Talk to somebody about it. It can't be healthy holding on to all of this trauma, that this man's very presence when he's really trying to be there for his children can get you to the point where there is so much drama and you're trying to instigate fights between your man and this man. It's like there's no reason for all of that. It's very much given unhealed, unhinged. Now let's shift gears a little bit to Destiny and Martell. Every time I see a scene with Destiny and Martell, I'm just like, you guys, please. Like, it's obvious there is something there, or there has been something there, or someone was a little interested in a little something. It's given there's something there, okay? Whatever that something is, I'll leave you guys to read in between the lines. Now, Martell talks about how he's trying to move Arionne into the investment property. Initially, the way he said it, it sounded like he was moving her into his house. And you would then see like Destiny's face sort of looked like, oh. And then he's like, oh no, I'm not trying to move her into my house. I'm just moving her into the investment property, baby steps. And then in his confessionals, it was talking about Arionne is wife material. Guess why he said this girl was wife material? Let me tell you. Apparently, it's the respect, the taking care of me. I'm like, oh yeah? So what? She's cleaning your dirty drawers. Is that what it is? Is she kissing the floor that you walk on or what? Because it's very much given a man that feels like, or he felt like he wasn't enough in a previous relationship, and because he was dating women who were high achievers and doing excellently well, to then take a step down, but then of course she has nothing else but you, so you're going to feel like, oh, she respects you, oh, she's taking care of you. Now, did you guys pre that there was nothing about her character, who she is? All it was is what Arionne was doing for him. Oh, the respect. Oh, she takes care of me. How about she's kind? She's fun to be around. She is hilarious. Not who is she outside of what she does for you. This is the problem I have with a lot of men sometimes when they talk about their women. When they talk about their partners, instead of talking about who this woman is, all the amazing qualities that she has, oh, she's kind, she's such a wonderful person, she is patient, she is loving, she is this. Instead, you hear, oh, she takes care of the kids, oh, she takes care of me. Like, okay, so that seems very transactional. So what happens when she can't take care of you? Are you going to not think she's an amazing wife? Are you not going to love her because she can't take care of you? Let's say she is sick. Are you going to love her any less because she's sick? A perfect example is Maurice and Kimmy, right? Maurice wants to be serviced all of the time. Even when Kimmy had cancer, he still wanted to be serviced all of the time. Is that because he feels like she's only an amazing wife because she takes care of those sexual needs? Or he reduces her being an amazing wife to her taking care of his sexual needs? Is that what that is? Outside of that, it's like, how about who she is, right? So that annoyed me, but then I'm like, do you know what? I'm not surprised, because when has Martell ever given us the sense that he, or the idea or the inkling that he has some sense, that he actually appreciates women and what they bring to the table? Now, I'm not saying that Arionne is some amazing woman. Let's be clear. He called her a peasant and he meant that ish. So him trying to clean it up now because no other person wants him, it's just what that is, BS. He even mentioned she cooks. I'm like, okay, so because she cooks, now she's a good wife? Like no other qualities, just respect, cooking, taking care of you? Are you a child? Like, ridiculous. You can definitely see that they're setting it up to bring Arionne on the show. So they're trying to do a little bit of like, oh, this is Martell's real life. He's trying to get engaged to this woman. They keep bringing up the ring in every scene. Like, you get lost. We do not care whether or not you propose to this peasant. Do whatever you feel like doing. That is on you. Destiny then asked Martell, like, isn't it like when a man knows, he knows and whatnot? And then Martell is like, yeah, but then, like, you know, he's already 42 with a bunch of kids and his divorce is still fresh. I'm like, your divorce has been how many years? It is only fresh in your mind, okay? It's not fresh in the mind of our viewers or the viewers. It's not fresh in the mind of your ex-wife. It is only in your mind because you cannot get over it. That's the problem, sir. You need to get over it and find some peace. You need it. And then he's like, oh, he feels like he's so fresh and he just doesn't want to make any rash moves. If I were you, Arionne, I would be embarrassed. There's no way I could be you, but I would be so embarrassed because this man, the ex-wife already left the show and he still has the audacity to still be insinuating that the divorce with his ex-wife is still fresh. You see how that's a problem? You see how that is a problem? He said, oh, you know, he has 4 kids with his ex-wife. They intentionally didn't mention Melody, by the way. And then he thinks about it every day. I'm like, oh yeah? Are you hoping that Melody is going to see this and then think like, that ship has sailed and left the ocean? It is never, ever, ever coming back home, okay? So if you want to move on with Arionne, that is your prerogative. do what you think is best for you. But if you think that Miss Money Making Mel is planning to come back, girl, please get lost. Now, one thing is interesting is Destiny does say that she feels like he's stuck, but Martell doesn't accept the whole like he's stuck. He feels like he's good, and then he says in the confessional like it's just for him. He doesn't know when to like stay or fight or give up. I'm like, please, Martell, shut up. Nobody is buying all of this. The truth is, we all know that if anybody, right, first of all, if your ex-wife Mel ever said, oh, okay, you would be running like your life depended on it. Let's even remove Mel from the situation. If somebody else, right, with more clout, has more going on for her, ever looked in your direction, you will drop Arionne like a hot potato. You absolutely would. That's just the fact. But the only problem is you're stuck with her because no other person wants you. It's like everybody is awake to the truth of who you are. So ain't nobody falling for the nice guy acts. Nobody's falling for all that shenanigans. People have seen enough to know that you are not to be trusted, and that's just that. So those are my personal thoughts on that. I think the other things that happened, it was honestly, there was really not much. I found it very, very boring. Like it came up to a point where I was just listening and I wasn't watching anymore because I was just like, I cannot stand these people. I cannot stand the stale storylines. It's episode 2 and we still don't have anything fresh, nothing interesting, and I just couldn't deal. So that is it. That is all. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button, and tap that bell button right next to it so you know every single time that I post. And I'll see you guys in the chat. Let me know what you think. Bye.